Hey, Busy Bees. Today we are back with another chapter in our My Weird School series, Book 7, Mrs. Cooney is Loony by Dan Gutman. But before we get into our chapters of the day, we're going to get into a riddle of the day. The riddle of the day is, what's bright orange with green on top and sounds like a parrot? And I'll tell you again. What's bright orange with green on top and sounds like a parrot? And I will give you the answer to the riddle at the end of our chapter. So let's pop open the book and fly through this adventure together. Yesterday, Mrs. Cooney stopped by into AJ's room and he wanted to impress her. And so he stated that the way to impress a girl is by making her laugh. And boy, oh boy, did his plan fail. So let's get into the next chapter. Chapter 5, Checking for Headlights. To make Mrs. Cooney fall in love with me, I would have to be on my best behavior. Luckily, I got my chance the very next day. After we finished pledging the allegiance, Miss Daisy told the class that we had to go to Mrs. Cooney's office one at a time. Ryan and Michael wanted to go first, but I got to go first because my name starts with A. So na, boo-boo on them. When I got to Mrs. Cooney's office, she didn't seem mad at me anymore. I was determined to be the most perfect kid in the history of the world. Good morning, AJ, Mrs. Cooney said. Every year at this time, I have to check the students for headlights. Headlights? Why would a kid bring a headlight to school? Headlights belong on cars. I kept my mouth shut, though. I didn't want Mrs. Cooney to get mad at me again. Mrs. Cooney put a pair of rubber gloves. She told me to sit on a chair, and she turned on a bright light over the chair. It was like one of those lights they shine at bad guys in police TV shows when they're trying to get them to confess. I wanted to tell Mrs. Cooney that checking kids for headlights was dopey, but I was trying to be on my best behavior. Is this really necessary? I asked politely. It's nothing to be ashamed of, she said. Lots of kids have headlights. Nobody I know. Mrs. Cooney started looking through my hair and rubbing a stick against my head. What a waste of time. If I had a headlight up there, she wouldn't have to look very hard to see. What happens if I have one? I asked. You'll have to stay home from school for a few days, Mrs. Cooney said. That didn't sound like such a bad idea. I could use a vacation. I started thinking of how I could get a headlight. Maybe my dad had an extra one in the garage. But even if I could get a headlight, how would I attach it to my head? With a strap or something? As Mrs. Cooney was poking around in my hair, I started to think about what it would be like if the two of us were married. Maybe she would make me hop around the house with a ruler on my nose and cluck like a chicken all day. Maybe I would have to wear a headlight all the time. My mom once told me that all people are different, and that's what makes people so interesting. She said we should accept people for who they are instead of trying to change them. Maybe I could live with Mrs. Cooney even if she was weird. Okay, Mrs. Cooney said, you can go back to class. AJ, you don't have headlights. Duh. Mrs. Cooney is weird, but I still love her. I decided that I still wanted to marry her when I grow up. When I got back to class, I told Ryan and Michael that Mrs. Cooney tried to find headlights in my hair. It's headlights, dumbhead, Michael said. Not headlights. Oh, that explained a lot. And that is the end of our chapter for today. Oh my goodness, I was laughing inside the entire time from the fact that he thought it was headlights and not headlights. So let's get into the answer of our riddle of the day. So our riddle of the day was, what's bright orange with green on top and sounds like a parrot? And the answer is, drum roll please, a carrot. A carrot is orange and it has green on top and it rhymes with parrot. If you like this video, give it a like. And if you'd like to follow along for more adventures, hit that subscribe button. And I will see you on the next one.